energies and our souls are in this experimental phase and they're testing the bodies. If we give you direction, will you do it? Hey, yo, beautiful.
Hi, gorgeous. How are you?
I am fantastic.
You look great. I love that shiny shirt.
Yeah, it's a good time. I gotta get my mermaid on, you know?
I'm a Scorpio water sign, so I can totally I love that. The mermaid.
Yeah, it's a
Like
good time.
that.
Well, how have you been?
I've been good. I've been good. I moved to Montana. I got a new hat.
Oh
I
my
figured
God, so much.
it even has my initials on it, J-Lo.
Oh yeah, you gotta get the J-Lo in there.
What does your hat say?
It says shit shifter.
Yeah, it does. You've been doing a lot of work with that, huh?
Yeah, yeah. You know, this hat goes on when I've been in some deep spaces and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm shit shifting right now. And then, you know, I've got my dinosaur hat when my little kid's out, and I've got my game changer hat when I'm ready to do work with my business. So it's one of those things.
I love it. Well, let's move some shit.
Yeah, let's move some shit. Let's get real today.
I know, I know. I was thinking about all the different things we could talk about. And, it's August 2nd right now, and we're moving into the 8/8 Lionsgate portal and
Yes, we are.
getting
Yep.
ready for August. And I was just thinking we probably need to move some shit with that too.
Yeah, we're gonna get some things lined up.
Yeah. So what do you think is kind of coming in energy wise?
Oh, this portal is a very much so, I want to say it's a balancing portal.
Hmm.
That's what I've noticed it over the past few weeks, and I've been in contact with a lot of different people who are getting ready and prep for it. And I want to say, in my experience, there's a lot of balancing of the masculine and feminine in this space to make it a one piece so that we can all work together. That's been a really big one for me.
Yeah, I've also noticed not only that of the balancing of the male and the female, but we need to also be balancing our weather patterns because our weather patterns have been totally off balance. What is
Yeah,
happening with that?
yeah. There's a lot of like unexplainable happening right now, I would say. Um, but honestly, if I take it back and I look at the weather patterns of the Earth itself and how I've
Yeah.
been interfacing with it, there's these pieces that are coming into alignment, and I'm going to specifically talk about the Atlantean piece and the Lemurian piece
Yeah,
that are
cool.
creating a lot of energetic force in and around those spaces. And the Earth is trying to work with balancing that out. So she's also throwing out kind of these a little anomalies to get things in the balancing space.
Yeah, well, because I mean, we see where the weather has been thus far, right? I mean, we've seen a
Right.
crazy amount of rain in Texas, and gosh, I mean, we've all heard about those poor campers and everything.
Yeah.
And we're experiencing a ton of rain here in Montana too. Yesterday, there was a bunch of flooding in one of the other towns. And so, I'm curious to see, water is this renewal, this refresh. It's sort of even what we saw in Russia just the other day, where they had that earthquake that created that tsunami. I almost feel like that water is just sort of that, like you were talking about rebalancing, it's that
Right.
renewal. It's because water carries energy, and whatever, is like, Gaia, Mother Earth herself, she's like
Right.
wanting to bring in some renewal into her land, right? It's almost like clearing out the land through water. And I'm wondering what your take is on that.
Yeah, well, I've been out with water almost pretty consistently over the last couple of weeks to work with the water codes themselves.
Oh,
And
cool.
to actually, anytime I've been down there, it's been quite a beautiful channel of, okay, this is shifting now. Let's work with the water in this space to make sure that shift stays permanent.
Mm.
Okay. So it's not just flow, it's just these codes are coming in with the water and it's integrating into all of our bodies and systems really rapidly. And of course, Mother Earth already knows what it's doing. She's very intelligent.
Of course.
And it's spreading it about. And really, the flow that I see coming through there is about us completely embodying our sovereign codes.
So sovereign codes, what does that mean? Like having sovereignty within ourselves, or, what does that mean, sovereign
Yeah,
codes?
I mean, yeah, completely sovereign within ourselves, sovereign to receive, sovereign to give, sovereign in all places and spaces. That means freedom of everything, our voices, our finances, our liberation with each other, anything that has been under control is still moving through the space, but it's definitely sovereign codes is what I would say.
Yeah, and so it's really interesting. It's like sovereignty doesn't necessarily mean like you wake up one day and you have everything and it's there. Like I just did I just recorded something the other day where, I mentioned that I've landed in Montana. I'm kind of talking about sort of my journey where I'm like in this time in between, but I also talk about like even if you're looking for, reciprocity or you're looking for abundance or you're looking for anything to come into your life, it is that flow, that exchange. Like you don't just sit there and go, okay, I'm ready to receive, and then just be this collection bucket, but not give anything out in exchange. So it's when you're talking about sovereignty, I also feel like sovereignty is still an exchange of flow. Like you don't just
Reciprocity.
be like, I'm sovereign today, ta-da! Like there's an exchange you have to give in order to
Right.
receive that sovereignty.
Right. And you still have to go through these layers that are moving their way through to understand that space and liberation and what reciprocity actually means. Like, am I going to take an action today and give a little bit, knowing that I'm going to receive? And it's very much so following that water flow. Like, because some
Mm.
days it's like, no, I'm resting today. That's it.
I have those days too.
Can't do anything. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm in alignment. Time for me to do some business work. Okay.
Huh.
Yeah, get something out there or a video out there or something like that. And then there'll be full days where it's, oh, I'm gonna hold the receiving. Okay. I'm gonna make sure that and my all my space is clear. I'm getting rid of things that I don't need because there's something coming in.
Yeah, because you have to you got to make that space in order to receive it. So if you're
Right.
like already your space is cluttered with stuff that no longer serves you, it's going to block the space to be able to receive
Right.
something new.
Right. And it's also too like every day, every moment, you're a new version of yourself.
Hmm.
And I wake up every day and I'm like, okay, I'm a clean canvas. What do I want to do with that today? And I'll
Hmm.
ask my body, I'll ask my soul, my personality, what would it like? And a lot of times it's like, okay, well, this is not me anymore. Time to go. Right? Like I need a new canvas. Let's see what else can come into the space so that I can create. And I always bring it into like the creationary mode of things because if I'm in a I can create with curiosity and joy, then
Hmm.
going through these layers and in between spaces isn't as challenging.
Hmm.
It's like, oh, I can be in the surrender of like the in between, right, that you're talking about. Um, or the chrysalis stage where I'm like,
Oh, you watched the video.
watch the video.
I love it.
That in between space where you just need to be silent. And that is going into just the I'm going to surrender to what that flow is where it's going to take me right now.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And so that in between stage is really very what I kind of explained it to be is it's a very intense amount of silence. And so it's almost like as if there's two in between stages. And that's what I was trying to articulate in that video was there's the first in between stage, which is where you call out to God. You're like, I surrender into like, please help. And God just kind of answers and it puts you into this situation where it's intense silence. So that way you can hear your inner voice
Right.
and really tap into whatever that divine insight and wisdom is that you're about to receive. But then there's this other side of stillness and in between where you've now tapped into that channel. You've got that, that phone call, that line is open to spirit. You can start to hear it. And now you have to assimilate that into this new life, right? Like how do you
Right.
adapt that into going forward because there's that next phase where you're going to get called to action and you're that butterfly and taking off and having that higher
Exactly.
perspective like
Exactly.
it's that preparation of before you get called into action and you
Right.
have that silence. So I'm curious what your thoughts are on that.
I'm full alchemization, baby. That's what that
Yeah.
is.
Cool.
That is like there's an awareness that something is shifting, right?
Yeah,
Something needs to shift here. That
right.
could be I have the patterns that aren't working for me. It could be this space is not working for me. And then
Hmm.
it's a period of understanding and going into a little bit of that silent phase
Hmm.
just to see what that movement is going to be. And then once you start to make that movement, there's a whole other process to it because you're expanding yourself up to that wisdom, that infinite wisdom that's coming its way through. And your whole body chemistry, everything's got to change because there's more of you coming into the space,
Hmm.
right? And that's where the alchemy really starts to take place and things starts to shift. Your ego starts to bust open more if there's more of that running through there, where it's like, oh, acknowledgement, that's got to go, okay? And then you know that you're moving, you're in the process of moving, things are shifting. And then there's another in between space where you're kind of like in between timelines, right? In between this and that, the void.
I love to tap into that because, understanding timelines is kind of new for me. And I understand that there's like the higher and the lower timeline, and that we've had this timeline convergence where we're kind of running the higher and the lower timelines in parallel. But at some point, I'm trying to do it for the camera here. There's like
Get
a
it?
shift, right? Like where the
Right,
higher timeline moves up
right.
this way and the lower time, and then there's that gap in between. Is there like a trigger point in terms of when those timelines kind of separate and like,
It really, well, first off, I'm going to just give a little perspective on a
okay.
timeline, right? It's anytime that you have a thought form, anytime that your soul wants to do a shift, anytime that your frequency shifts, okay, it throws out infinite proportions of realities or lines, okay?
Kind of
Like,
like this tree back here.
sound like that tree, very much so. Good. Kind of like the tree, kind of like mycelium too, you
Like
know,
what?
like mycelium, where it spreads out and it has these branches,
Oh, okay, okay.
right? And your nervous system. That I mean, the tree back there is a really fantastic symbol of your nervous system and how that works with new branches. Okay. Anytime there's a new branch that shifts, that means that there's a new information, new wisdom coming in. There's also an infinite number of other branches that can be out of that possibility. Right? So if I want to go eat lunch, my brain's going to be like, okay, what's going to feel like is in alignment for me? There's a billion choices here. It's going to shoot out a billion different branches here, right? What is my highest point to choose? I'm going to walk down that line,
Uh-huh.
okay? And the rest of those choices around me, it's not that they don't exist, they're still there. They're just going to consolidate because I didn't choose them.
Oh, that's the consolidation.
Yes.
Okay, so because eventually, like, I'll choose, maybe I'll say this guy, and
Yes.
all of the rest of these go, whoop, and then they
Yep.
follow that path because those options no
Right.
longer exist anymore in
Right.
space and time.
I didn't take them, you know?
Yeah.
And that goes for the ascension process itself, as we're all learning to ascend in our physical bodies. These
Hmm.
branches that no longer exist anymore, they're just taking their little bit of time because it's residual energy, and then they're going to fully collapse down and not be relevant anymore. Right. And it's just that in between space of where we've been in the habit of working with the 3D. It's basically habit in our body now. It doesn't exist. It's not there energetically, but it's a
Yeah.
habit that's been in the body. So our nervous system is the most important piece to this here because it's been holding on to that memory and the habits. So it's detoxing those. Those trees are going away. We've got the new branches coming in, and the in-between space is what allows us to expand our bodies so that we can be on that higher timeline.
So is the in-between space the area where we make choice? And, or is it we're deciding what timeline we're on, or we're waiting to kind of move into the next, like, help me to break down sort of this in-between space because I'm in that right now
Yeah.
real heavy. I'm in the in-between where I'm choosing it now. I'm no longer fighting it. I feel like that fighting it was the
Right.
chrysalis phase. I'm like, I gotta get out of this. Now
Yep.
I'm like, yes, I like this in between. I like this pause moment where I can like kind of intentionally create.
Right.
Um,
I like to call it the breath.
okay.
Okay. It's like taking a deep breath before you jump into the next phase of expansion, which would be your next piece in the timeline. Right?
Yeah.
And the bodies, the systems need that time in between to take that breath. So not only can you make the choice, it's already made for you because it's an infinite universe. Like you've already chosen it.
Uh-huh.
It's getting your body to understand that it's processing that choice. And it can still choose any which way it wants to, but if you're hitting that highest timeline, it's gonna take that while to process it. And then it doesn't take, I would say once your body understands fully that it can receive that next timeline, that's when it can make that final jump.
So that's really interesting because that makes me think of like Esther Hicks and the law of attraction. And she talks about like how you kind of put it out there and then you eventually, kind of catch up with it in the reality. So is that
Right.
sort of what you're talking about? Like you've got to get your nervous
Talking about
system
the
and your
vortex.
body. Huh?
Yeah. I said we're talking about the vortex.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely the vortex. That's how I grew up is learning all of this stuff in my 20s. And,
Yes. Yes.
and I mean, I had Esther Hicks on cassette tape, if that tells you how long ago that was.
Heck
Listening,
yeah. Get it.
right?
Yeah, it's all in your field. That's what when I always say, and people are talking about, well, I'm going to jump this timeline. What does that take? No, it's all in your body. It's all in your field right
Yeah.
now. We're not going anywhere to do it. We're resonating at that level, if that makes sense. So your body is learning how to resonate at that level, keep that frequency going and opening up to more. Okay. And then those things that those choices and things that you put in there, they just automatically come into the space. But that's also, again, with the flow, you got to take certain action steps,
Uh-huh.
right? It's not just like, and I'm
Yeah.
here.
I keep hoping for that to happen and it doesn't. That's going to be my thumbnail photo of you doing that. I love it.
Ah, and I'm not saying that it can't just come into your field that way. It's just your body's got to stay in alignment for that to come into place and continue to come
So
to you.
is that where the in-between period comes in? Because you've gotten something that you put into the vortex, you put
Yes.
into your future branch that
Yep.
your subconscious has already chosen, your spirit has already chosen, but your body is not willing to get there
Your
yet or
body's
ready to
like
get there yet.
resistant. It's like, what the
Resistance.
fuck are we doing right now? You're asking me to move across country, okay? Leave all my relationships here, okay? And everything that I could possibly love. Yes. Yes, in fact, that's exactly what we're saying. For you to stay in alignment for what you want,
Mhm.
that means we've got to let go of these things because there's better things coming in,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
And
because we've already put that out there. I mean, we've already called out what we want as
yes,
what's better. And hopefully, we are able to rise up to meet that and that we're all putting out their higher vibrational
right.
desires as opposed to, living in that fear and lack and
Oh,
that
absolutely.
negativity. We got to leave that behind.
Yep, yep, and definitely gotta leave that behind. And also, too, it's about the awareness that your nervous system is having because we're jumping from a 3D nervous system, which was all survival, which was all work, it was all hustle. It's all like I gotta go and I gotta stay in the constant chaos to get what I want, into
Mhm.
complete almost silence, ease, pause,
Right.
rest.
Right. And that chaos and that go, go, go is exactly what I was talking about in the caterpillar phase. And so
Yep,
now moving into that ease is really, that chrysalis is that preparation really to get you into that ease. I think that ease is after the chrysalis phase because that's when you're no longer fighting the silence. You're sort of embodying
exactly.
it and you're in like communion with it.
And that's a big piece right there. You're looking to embody that entire facet of yourself that is with ease, that is with grace, that is the full embodiment of your soul coming in. Okay.
Hmm.
And so the body, it's really the body that's working this process the most because the souls are already in that resonance. And the bodies are like, oh, I have to let go of that, which also kept me super safe. And also, like, it did bring in money. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I knew how to hustle real great. Right. And to know this is your attraction right now. You're going to keep pulling it in. You're going to take these action steps when you hear and feel it's aligned.
Yeah.
Okay. Even if that's like today, we're not doing anything on the computer, but we're going out to the river. Okay.
Yeah, that's a big one for my kiddo and I, because he still really likes the gaming and all that kind of stuff. But here we're in like nature and beautiful land and
Right. Yep.
wanting to get outside. In fact, we were going to go do that later today, but it's a little cold and rainy, so maybe we'll have our sweaters on when we go out.
Yeah, I mean, that's a thing.
But okay, so you were talking about sort of, abundance and finance and all that kind of stuff. So I have to touch on it because it is my absolute favorite subject
I
in the
know.
entire
I
world.
know. Yeah. Let's
So
talk about it.
the notion of wealth transfer.
Uh-huh.
So if we're kind of in this in-between phase and we're, waiting to call in that next big leap, that next big jump and moving towards, abundance for all. I mean, I was listening to this one video and it was talking about, if you want to bring in that abundance, you also have to give it away. So then you've got to like kind of keep on that mindset of like, I'm
Yep.
funding everybody that I'm interacting with because I have it to give away. And so now when I go to the grocery store, I'm like, I'm funding the grocery store or I'm funding, this pizza restaurant that we went to last night for dinner. So, what are your thoughts about that from that kind of mindset? Is that sort of the right direction, or like how else can we kind of crystallize and bring in into our reality sort of more of this wealth transfer idea?
I mean, honestly, the internal structure of what wealth is is the entire breakdown of what you think it is.
Oh no. I heard breakdown. I was like, oh yeah, I've lived there financially too. I'm real good at that one.
It's understanding what wealth, of course, means to you, how that looks, how that feels, and knowing too that this era that we're in, this ascension vibrational frequency that we're in, isn't about just the money sequencing. It's about can I give and receive in equal proportions.
Hmm.
Okay. And the money vibration itself is there to be a part of that, but
Hmm.
it's also with everything.
Right, right. Because I say abundance is greater than just money, and abundance is also an inside job. So it's exactly what you were talking about, where I think it's first and foremost believing that we're worthy of having it. And second of all, knowing that it is our God-given right to have abundance of life and vitality and wellness that we can exchange and give to others all the time. And that as we get more in the flow of that, finances can be a part of that as well.
Absolutely. Finance is definitely a part of that.
Yeah.
It's all a part of that. It's just understanding what that exchange is, how it feels, and how in my central core am I feeling about how wealthy I am.
Hmm.
How can I attract that point? And it can be just even one little, oh, I made a click into guess what my worthiness is right now. I just am. It's going to come in and I'm going to trust that. It's going to come in and I'm going to be able to handle that much when it comes in, for one thing. Okay. And I'm going to be able to give that much. It's like circular breathing.
Mm.
Okay. Like cycles and circles. It just keeps going in and out and in and out. And that much comes in, that much goes out. Okay. And the flow of the water coming in to help us clear and cleanse this piece, which, like you said, is it's a really big piece to work with, is
Hmm.
also allowing us to experience wealth in a way that is easeful, in a way where we can be very impactful with the wealth that's coming in.
Hmm.
It's very directed. It's not based in consumerism. We're not going to continue some of these cycles that we have for a while. So the water in and of itself is allowing us to be in that pause too. Okay, because we don't want to hit that higher timeline until we can hold that.
I get that. I get that. And so as you're talking about it, because I also use that water metaphor a lot too. I mean, it just really resonates with me, and I completely get that. And as you were talking about, I was just thinking like being in the shower and like all that water just kind of falling on you and just like
Yep, for
saying,
sure.
I'm in the, receiving of abundance right now and just seeing how
Right.
it feels. Cause just that water just rushing on you and just how that feels. Cause it doesn't stop until you turn the faucet off. So it's like just maybe practicing that vibration of just receiving.
Absolutely. Yep, yep. And for anybody who's watching this, and I will always say right up in front and first and foremost, these are all our perspectives. I'll ask you guys to question yourselves too, because this is all about how you feel in the moment with your own alignment phase. But this is a good practice, whether you're inhaling and exhaling. I'm going to inhale abundance and I'm going to exhale, give out to the universe. Okay. Or whether you're in with the water and it's coming over your body and you're moving into that space of flow. It's allowing yourself to be able to fully receive that and giving yourself that pause right there so that you
Mhm.
can understand what that feels like within your body. Okay? Because right now, again, it's just all about the body learning how to work this. And the souls are like excited about, oh my gosh, we're at this level right now. Okay, body.
Well, I mean, that's just sort of the next level of thought for me because I always thought it was the intention putting it out there and it was just going to magically catch up with you. But
Right.
now what you're kind of saying is it's already there, it's waiting for us. It's our body and our nervous system and our own
Exactly.
belief that we can, like, and you mentioned it, hold that vibration. It's one thing if you get into it. It's sort of like when you jump in and the water is like really cold and you jump back out. You're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be in there. What
Exactly.
happens when we've got this massive flow of abundance that we finally connect with and you go, no, stop. And I mean, we can't stop that flow. Once the universe turns that spigot on, we've got to be able to receive it at full blast.
Absolutely. At full blast. And these, our cute little bodies are like, I've never done this before. I haven't even seen it.
Well, yeah,
I
how do
don't
you
know what
right?
you're talking about right now. So it's being created as we speak for our bodies to have that platform because we don't know. We've lived in a 3D. right? So it's our body's understanding how to work with it, and our souls are doing a really good job with that piece of it. But now it's the full embodiment. I'm not just gonna shoot that out and have it come back to me. No, I'm gonna embody all of it,
Hmm.
all the frequencies. So I'm not actually asking the universe to give me anything, right? I'm embodying it fully in my body, and I'm walking each step like that. And each aspect of everything in my timelines, my incarnations, everything like that is in this body. And I can just keep walking it, and I can look visually at the beautiful canvas that I'm creating and where my soul has been and what she's up there doing. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna keep in this receiving mode, and I'm gonna keep in alignment. And that's the only thing that I need to do. Is this in alignment for me or is it not?
Hmm.
Do I need to speak my voice here? Do I need to what is the biggest alignment phase? And if I'm doing that in my full authenticity, then that stuff just keeps coming in with ease and grace.
And the best way to know if we're in alignment with it is because we feel good. Because if we feel
Yeah.
negative about it, we're not fully aligned. Or if you're like, I don't really know, I'm kind of questioning it, you're not aligned. You're not aligned.
Nope.
And I feel it often in my throat. I don't know if that's ever happened
Yeah.
to you, but like my throat
Oh,
chakra just
totally.
really flares up if I'm not speaking my truth or if I'm about to walk into a situation that's like really not for my best and highest good.
Yep, my throat will do it, my head will do it, my stomach will do it, and a lot of times it's just like I'm not even going to enter that energy. That is not for me. That's not a good vibe. And if I know it right off the bat too, if I'm like, so what are we looking at here? And I'm like, oh, my voice wants this is a speaking moment, right? And
Mm.
my best alignment is going to be me be very direct in in this moment and say, absolutely not. This isn't going to work for me, guys. Thank you. Bye. And walking out the door. Right. So our energies and our souls are in this experimental phase and they're testing the bodies. If we give you direction, will you do it?
That is such a big one right now. Oh my God, I just want to, you always said, I'm going to circle that and double click and go back to,
Gold circle.
yes, that's what I want to do right now. Is it's all just about just hearing whatever that call is or that direction that you need to go and actually freaking follow through with it.
Following through is really huge right now.
Hmm.
It's really big. And our bodies too, at least I'm in my system because I'm in this big experimental phase. And I know that because I'm also working on getting a program out for the nervous system so that it can help support that piece. Right? But it's all of these little experiments that I see my soul popping out there. And she's like, hey, we're going down this line. I'm like, wait a second. What does that mean? Oh, right. I gotta let go of that. And my body's getting very much so more embodied in that piece and going, oh, like literally at the end of the day, this whole reality doesn't matter. Like I'm creating it, right? So if my soul's like, okay, we're gonna go down this route, then I'm going to stop everything I'm doing, even if I'm in the middle of clients. And I'm going to be like, okay, look, this is my alignment phase. I'm going to have to pop outside for a second. Okay, because if I'm not listening to that direction and my intuition, this
Uh-huh.
is never going to work.
Uh-huh.
Never going to work. So it is. It's like, and I can see it too. It's just like my soul's like, okay, let's throw this in there. Let's throw this in there. Let's throw this in there. And my body's like walking down is like, yep, that's uncomfortable. I can do it. Hold on for a sec, but wait, I'm gonna do it. Like, holy shit, I'm really
You're on that roller coaster.
gonna do that. Meow. Yep, nope. That's the phase. And it's how quick can I do it? How quick am I gonna follow through? And
Hmm.
how much uncomfortability can I sit in? Okay, because this is brand new. Like my body hasn't seen this platform ever, right? None of our bodies have. This is brand new. Okay, so can it do it? Will it do it? And then once you do make that step and you do whatever the align phase is, your nervous system is gonna shift that and embody that piece. Okay, you don't ever have to do that one again,
Yeah, that's great.
right? Like it made that. I made that cut. I don't have to do that one again. It's gonna take you down another route to
That's
keep
because
back.
whatever that mirrored reflection is that you're supposed to learn from it, once you've kind of cleared that out, you've sort of shattered that mirror. It doesn't have to reflect back to you again. It's
Doesn't have to
another
reflect
option.
back to you. And also too, it could be just like, oh, this was a big wealth path and I'm gonna take that. I'm hearing to just be here with this right now. Maybe that's like one letter or a note or I'm messaging somebody and I'm gonna hold it. I'm gonna hold it right there. I don't need to do anything. And sometimes these holding periods can be from like 1 week to a month where I'm just holding a frequency and my body's just getting used to that frequency to hold it.
So when you're talking about holding it, is that also going back to the in-between
Here
phase?
we
So
go.
the in-between
And
phase is
back in.
totally, huh?
I'm like, yes, circling back to
Oh,
passive.
what's your turn circle?
Yep, holding phase.
Yeah, no, I really like that. So that way it's not like you're not stagnant. You're not making progress. We're just aligning our physical vessels so that way whatever we've chosen for that next step for whatever we put out there into the vortex or whatever language you want to use
Yep.
until our body, our nervous system is capable of holding it long term and not rejecting it.
Right, right. So examples of this would be, of course, financial abundance
Yeah.
and taking me down that route and then going, oh, like, can I hold this while I'm receiving a lot of money? Like, can I just stay there?
Yeah.
My nervous system was like, that's a lot. Right? Yeah, because you can hold it, remember? Yeah, okay. Right? And it's going to stay there for a period of time. Or it's joy. Can I stay at this frequency of that much joy for that long?
Oh,
Right? That's another embodiment piece, and I've had to work with that one. Pleasure is another one. Can I hold it for that long? Right?
yeah.
And rest, can I hold it for that long? And so
And
it's
And that's tough when like all of a sudden, you feel like you're doing really well and then anxiety hits you. You're like, what the heck was that? And they talk about like this ascension symptoms and solar flares coming in. I mean, there have been times where I'm totally in my joy and in my space and in the zone, and then like I get hit
and
out
you
of
get pummeled.
nowhere with anxiety. Huh?
Yep, and then you get pummeled and your face
Yeah.
or for a hot second.
Right. So are
Yeah,
there like
yep,
tests of how we're going to respond when something kind of knocks us off our path to get stronger?
absolutely. This is all about how we're going to respond in the space, and also can we feel these emotions because we're still emotional beings here. That is our superpower.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I ride that roller coaster all day and it does go into those spaces. And when it does go into those emotional spaces, that is my biggest magnitude for alchemizing. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to use this amount of sadness that's coming through here to be able to alchemize to my next step because I can jump much higher once I alchemize through that emotion.
So when those things come externally to knock you off your path or bring anxiety, it's how we can kind of ride that wave. And it's like, oh, sure,
Absolutely.
bring it on because it doesn't affect me anymore. I don't get anxiety from that because I've maybe attuned my
Right.
body to adjust to it differently or,
Right, right, right. And it's not to push away that anxiety. Don't get me wrong. Like I've had this maybe last week I've been really interfacing with this Lionsgate portal and seeing what is moving through there. But I
yeah.
gotta tell you, working through both aspects of the masculine and feminine and diving deeply into each of those,
Uh-huh.
that feminine, this new, it's not new, it's just our bodies are feeling it as new, feminine creationary story
Uh-huh.
has this really intense, deep and it is a sacred type of a rage, but that's how the bodies are interpreting it. But it actually just gets stuff done real fast, okay? And it was me stopping and feeling how intense that is through the body and what emotion it was bringing up, and then how can I use that emotion, and then allowing my body to interpret it in a way where, oh, this isn't like scary. It isn't something that I feel like I'm gonna hurt somebody with because that was one of them too. I was like, wow, this is intense. I'm gonna kill somebody, right? It was embracing that, surrendering to it, and going, hey, how can I use this in my most biggest benefit? And
Mhm.
it was a deep cry, a scream, and then going, oh, I understand it. That makes sense in my body. Okay. And now I've been working this masculine piece, and I'm like, oh, I don't know about that one. I mean, feel all of those emotions, and I have been through all the way down from guilt into like extremes of like, oh, that makes so much sense why I didn't understand this before because I'm looking at the 3D construct of what masculine has been, and my
Uh-huh.
body did not know how to receive the divine masculine.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
So,
I would say to some extent I'm in the same boat on that.
yeah, yep, yep, totally get it, totally get it. The bodies are learning how to communicate with all of these new facets.
Yeah. Well, I can say from my own divine feminine in terms of like what I'm moving into is to expect to be treated better and
Yeah.
as opposed to the sort of like bottom basement
Oh, totally.
garbage I was allowing in my past. Now it's leveling up, and I'm seeing how interacting with men, even like my neighbor, how considerate he was. I was sitting outside yesterday or the day before with another friend of mine, and she and I we were just catching up on life. We hadn't connected since I moved in, and he brought out his like riding mower, of his lawn mower because he's got a big yard, and he just wanted to say, I just wanted to know if I mow my yard right now, if it would interrupt your conversation. And I'm like, I just made a shift. Like,
What happened? No way. Yeah,
right. And I
yeah,
was
that is
like,
incredible.
yes, that's
That's
amazing.
the type of respect that we're looking
Yes.
for, right? And also, too, the masculine's also looking for respect, right? It doesn't look the same, but it's also it has been, at least for me, working with this masculine, like, hey, I'm going to invite you into this space, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you how I've been feeling through this space, which is
Mhm.
this rage, this anger, this non-respect, this submissive piece, and I just want you to be present with it. I don't need you to do anything, right? And as soon as I like witnessed that and the masculine witnessed that, then I invited him into the space to see how he was feeling and how we could work with that. And then it's this reciprocity of respect, gratitude. I might not know all the things, but I'm willing and open to
Mhm.
interface with you so that I can hear you.
Mhm.
That's the biggest thing. Like, it's like, what?
Well, and I love that you're talking about that reciprocity in the exchange between the divine masculine and divine feminine, because
Yep.
to kind of close the loop on the lawnmower story, he did mow the yard and it was fine. Like we chatted through it, but then the conversation ended and we were getting up to walk into the house. And he was finishing, mowing that section of the lawn and he was picking something up on the ground. And I went and I told him, I said, I just wanted to let you know how much we appreciated your consideration and how you asked if it was okay to mow the lawn and that we really valued you in that moment. And he was like, "Oh, shucks, ma'am." And I was like, "Really an "oh, shucks" moment?" But it was like he was able to receive from his
Yes.
own
Yes.
generosity that he gave out. And we were as well. It was this like really awesome send receive exchange on both sides.
Absolutely. That's what we're looking for. And that's what they're looking for too, right?
Yeah.
Very equal format. I want to walk alongside with you. I want to give you that respect and you want to give it to me. And let's work this in a dynamic that is going to be beneficial for everybody.
Yeah, so that's what I kind of see going into this 8-8 Lionsgate portal then is that like that exchange as you're talking about between the masculine and feminine, but it's
Yep.
that leveling up, I
Right.
think, of that
Right.
exchange because it doesn't have to be, whatever, just not considerate or just very basic or what have you, but it's more of that leveled up. I'll say basic because
Basic.
that's been my experience, let me tell you. Guys don't have to work that hard anymore. And it's like, no, no, you do. You gotta level up.
You do, don't be basic, okay?
Don't be basic.
It is that leveling up phase, right? And that phase has been there. Again, we've been in this in between. It's us raising to that vibration to be like, oh, this is actually settling in now. Because guess what? I can give and receive in the same
Mhm.
space, not out of what it was,
Mhm.
right? So that's a beautiful exchange. I'm excited about that.
Thanks. It's fun. Well, and speaking of fun, I wanted to tell you I have a new favorite movie.
What is it?
It's on Netflix. It's the number two Netflix. I'm gonna just pause and let you guess.
It's the K-pop Demon
It's
Hunter.
okay. Do, soda pop. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love that. Have you seen it?
I have seen it. Yes. After you told me, I was like, oh, okay. I'm going to bring that into my reality. And what's funny about that is like my roommates' kids were watching it, and I was like, oh, right, I'm supposed to watch it. So I went out and I watched it with them.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, I highly recommend it.
It's so awesome. I mean, they talk about well, this honeymoon, for spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the movie, like shut this video down now because I want to talk about it. Because I think this is all about energy. And I try and share this with my son. He loves it too. And he's like singing and to all the
Yep,
songs and
yep,
he's doing all
yep,
the dances. And I like from that surface aspect, it's really fun and enjoyable. But like all the messages around energy and this honeymoon concept of this energetic grid, this golden grid, and how
yep,
it's responding to our vibration,
yep.
and that I think is fascinating. And I love that they talk about the Schumann world. Did you catch that?
I did. Yep.
They talk
Yep.
about the Schumann world. I was like, yeah, that's good stuff. And the patterns where they talk about it
Yep.
as shame, and you see it in the
Shame and
body and
guilt.
in the land. And I like that is
Yes.
my mission. It's all about clearing those patterns. And like now I've got language and context to it, which is very cool.
Yeah, yep. It's a really beautiful, beautiful movie of understanding where we have been and what we're heading into. And
Hmm.
it's consuging those patterns into some gold,
Hmm.
right? And shifting out of those that game. I mean, the shame and guilt cycles.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I was really kind of at awe by that whole experience after I watched it. I was like, that is, thank you, universe, for one, for putting something like that out there
Yes.
and giving us an opportunity to understand through our visceral experience that the biggest thing that was holding us back in the 3D was that game of Shield. Shield. Wow, these words.
That's
Like
the
I'm not there anymore, apparently.
No, but I mean, I see where you're coming from with it. It is it's awesome that that the collective conscious is ready to receive a movie like this
Yeah,
because at the
sure.
surface it's really fun, but it is so much more than that. At least it was for me. Like I really saw my personal journey as the movie progressed. And like as
Oh, yeah,
she's
for
at the
sure.
end and she's fighting that demon god, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I've been there. Know exactly what that's like." And then she, like, through her patterns, evolves and changes. And I'm going to cry, but it's like she starts to like embrace
Yep,
the parts of her that are not perfect and not
exactly.
beautiful and not what she's expected to be because she's
Right.
all of that. But all of those pieces together make her stronger and like kind of create this new facet of her that
Yep.
she then goes out and creates from the world. And I'm like, oh, that is exactly where I'm at right now.
Yep, that is it right there. It's so beautiful to put yourself into that and be like, hey, this is like the story that I feel like I've been living up to this point. Where like I have had many of those patterns, right? Really deep. And I'm not going to say the two words because like my body does not like to say them.
And here's me, I'm like, what two words? Say it, what?
Guilt and shame.
Oh,
It's between those.
yeah.
It's like but and then coming into a space of like, hey, but those aren't wrong either. They're a facet of me.
Yeah.
They're a part of me, and I can shift them into empowerment. And I can also be in my entire imperfection and get myself out there and be vulnerable about it and really shift the grid. And that's what I'm gonna say that like that's a grid shifter right there. That movie
Yeah.
right there.
I love that. So yeah, I think that's how we just go powerfully out into the world after this conversation is like, let's just go shift our grid. Shift
Yep.
happens.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Shift happens.
It's so awesome. I think I'm like, that's a perfect place to just wrap it up
Absolutely.
right there is like, go powerfully into your world and just embrace all the good and the negative, all combined into one because it's
All one.
what makes you become you. And so it's just
Absolutely.
take all of that powerfully into the world.
Yep. And I do recommend all of that darkness that you feel like you have, own it because that's also coming into the light in a way that's going to really propel you forward.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's own it going forward, girl. Woohoo!
Do it. All right, everybody. We love you so much. And if you have any questions, please pop them down.
Yeah, sounds great. All right. Love you too. Bye.
Bye.